The Last Jedi is the most controversial movie of all time. This movie has both a dedicated fan base that will rank it higher than literally any other movie, and a dedicated group of people who will actively hate everything about it and what it stands for. There are also a lot of people in the middle, but it truly does feel like this movie split the Star Wars fandom in half. Most people were at least on board with The Force Awakens, believing that the sequel trilogy had potential, but everything changed when Rian Johnson attacked. Now, this video is not going to be a defense of the movie, and it's not going to be an attack either. My goal is not to analyze the qualities of this movie and give a detailed review. That's been done before many times, even by me. No, today I'm here to explore the political debate this movie caused, which played a large part in fueling the conflict between fans, and in my opinion at least, it was all completely unwarranted. The thing is, a lot of the modern culture war on YouTube nowadays can in some shape or form be traced back to 2017 when this movie came out. A lot of the anti-SJWs that we've talked about on this channel before really started to gain traction because of this movie. Yes, a lot of people built their careers off of bashing the movie into oblivion, but many people also blew up for bringing politics into the mix. It's hard to tell whether or not people are genuinely still upset because of what the movie was, or whether the movie still symbolizes everything they deem to be wrong about modern cinema. That's why I wanted to investigate how The Last Jedi even got associated with politics in the first place, since the sequels as a whole are quite void of political messages compared to the other trilogies. And I also wanted to explore how so many people have taken advantage of the conflict within the fandom to further their own political agendas. To start off, I'd like to say that despite the fact that I actually like The Last Jedi, I'm completely okay with the fact that a lot of people don't like it. There are plenty of valid points of criticism that you can use against the movie. Heck, I'm even on board if we choose to walk into this video with the viewpoint that The Last Jedi is objectively a bad movie. I don't mind, because it has nothing to do with how incredibly absurd the people I'm going to talk about are. The Last Jedi being bad has no effect on the validity of these people's arguments, and just goes to show how horrendous and misguided some of these takes are. Because The Last Jedi is incredibly stale when it comes to politics. Like, thematically, if we compare the sequels to the originals or the prequels, we can see how bland they are. Not in terms of general themes, because The Last Jedi does raise interesting questions of what makes us special and the gray areas between good and evil, but more like politically speaking. For example, the original trilogy shows a conflict between multi-ethnic progressive revolutionaries and a fascist imperialist state, and according to George Lucas, the movies were inspired by the Vietnam War. And there's the prequel trilogy, which shows us the origins of this imperialist state, showcasing how easily democracy can crumble and turn into fascism if militarism is the leading force behind political discourse. Both of these trilogies are quite political, and both are progressive. If they came out today made by Disney, I feel like the anti-woke crowd would hate them just as much, if not more, than they did the sequels. Anyways, the sequels just don't compare politically, which makes sense since Disney is a mega corporation, and mega corporations like playing it safe, because their primary goal is to make money and appeal to a wide audience. But despite this, there are still people out there who began hating on these movies, saying that they were too woke, too SJW, too progressive, and to give you an idea, let me give you a couple of examples. First, we have our good buddy Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, who's angry that Disney neutered Luke Skywalker to empower the women in the movie, to further their feminist agenda. And by the way, this man is likely playing a character. He only does this to make money, or he really is the complete asshole he makes himself out to be. Either way, it's still harmful.
What's up, Geeks and Gamers? It's Jeremy coming to you with another video, and today we are going to talk more about Disney and their feminist agenda and why they can't keep shoving this garbage into Star Wars. Unbelievable. So we already know that they pretty much did everything they could to neuter Luke Skywalker, the great Jedi that we all knew and loved, basically was nowhere to be found in the sequel trilogy, which is unforgivable on every single level. But while they are busy neutering all the male characters, they are also doing everything they can to hype up the female characters, because basically if you don't have a penis, you get elevated in this new Disney version of Star Wars.
Then we have Mr. Reagan, who's also upset that multiple women are in Star Wars, but he also criticizes this movie for being anti-white and its SJW messages. For example, the vegan message. Take a look for yourself.
Another female commander or some other kind of authoritative figure. Yes, another female commander or some other kind of authoritative figure. And now we've got vegan virtue signaling. Chewbacca won't eat these little creatures because they're just too darn cute. But apparently fish is okay, so I guess it's a pescatarian virtue signaling. Poe Dameron, played by Guatemalan-American actor Oscar Isaac. Now, I've actually worked with Oscar Isaac, and he was perfectly amiable. I don't have a problem with this guy personally. But in another example of the filmmakers clearly going out of their way to avoid casting a white male in a hero role, they cast a Guatemalan-American actor. They did the same thing with Diego Luna in Rogue One, and even the actor playing Han Solo is Jewish. These filmmakers really hate white men.
And finally, I'll show you a clip from No BS, who feels that white people are being threatened by this movie and that Holdo symbolizes an anti-male agenda.
He's shown as this old coot in this movie, which is fine, but I'm starting to think he's a bit of a scapegoat here. He represents what's left of good white males in the franchise, certainly. A demographic that in the real world has constantly been outcasted and shunned from our society, especially lately. He's also kept out of the loop of the Resistance main battle plan by none other than Holdo, the literal pink-haired lesbian feminist in the movie. Again, not kidding. Played by Laura Dern, Admiral Holdo not only is another female in charge for the good guys, like General Leia, she's also pink-haired and hinted to have a romantic lesbian relationship with Leia, the other female that's leading the Resistance. Are you beginning to see the pattern here? White women lead the good guys, while emasculating their male cohorts, while white men lead the evil white supremacist First Order. Couple that with Holdo's pink hair and lesbian background and her elitist attitude towards men, and, well, it looks like Star Wars is becoming the social justice wars.
There are so many videos on YouTube saying that The Last Jedi is too woke, and it's pretty much always the same arguments, but so rarely do they hold true. This movie has very little to do with feminism, despite the fact that there's a female lead, and that there are high-ranking women in the movie. Gender is never mentioned in any purposeful way. The presence of women does not automatically make something feminist. Now, if you get offended by people who use pronouns, then I'm sorry to say, but they sometimes use the word he and she in this movie. No, but seriously, anyone who believes that this movie is targeting men by having a lot of women in it, as well as a lot of men, is really fucking fragile, and I actually do feel bad for them. It really can't be fun getting triggered this easily. The movie also isn't trying to push some diversity message just because the cast is diverse. By the way, there is still a majority of white people. Mostly men. Just because the cast of a movie set in a galaxy with millions and millions of different species has different races, doesn't mean that the movie makers are against white people. And all these arguments about the good guys being either women or people of color and the bad guys all being white men is idiotic too. The hero of the movie, Luke Skywalker, is white and he's a man. The central villain may be a white man, but he has a redemption arc and becomes a hero by the end of the trilogy. Like, what are you people on about? Also, I don't need to explain to you guys what's wrong with no bullshit using the whole pink-haired lesbian thing as a criticism. If you honestly think he's right, then I'm sorry, I can't help you. The thing is, I can't say that this movie is 100% apolitical, because nothing is. Every piece of art is political in some shape or form. Every person has biases, has opinions, values, thoughts. Who we are as people will always affect the art we create. However, hating on The Last Jedi for being too political, particularly too woke, makes no fucking sense. You can absolutely dislike this movie, that is completely valid. You can hate it with your guts, you can say it ruined your childhood. If you don't let these feelings and opinions hurt other people, then you're absolutely allowed to share them as well. However, I'm sick and tired of people pretending that this movie is bad because of SJW politics, because it's just not true. And you may be wondering why I care so much. If I'm alright with people disliking the movie, why am I not alright with people saying that it's woke? And the answer is easy. It's because it's dangerous. These people aren't genuine, they're misleading people, they're spreading misinformation, they're using people's anger, their disappointment, and just their feelings in general to spread their own agendas. Most of the people who lead this political hate train against the movie are unsurprisingly alt-right reactionaries, who believe that everything that comes out of Hollywood nowadays is just biased by woke agendas. Yes, there are many cases out there of corporations using progressive messages just to make money, but these people can't distinguish between actual instances and movies like The Last Jedi that just have a diverse cast because fuck yeah. And yes, there are toxic lefties on the other side who are a nuisance as well. It's not just right-wingers, but those lefties don't have nearly the same reach and pop cultural impact as these mega conservative channels do. It's just a bunch of grifters who took advantage of a lot of genuinely upset people and tricked them into thinking that the reason they didn't like The Last Jedi was because of feminism. Real fucking bullshit. But that's just my opinion. You're all of course allowed to disagree with anything I said, and And please, if you do disagree, I strongly encourage you to let me know down below. It's really important that we always keep a conversation going about these issues. Even if we agree on most of it but differ in some places, we need to talk about that. So yeah, leave your opinions down below. Also, to those of you wondering where I've been these past couple of weeks, I had some personal issues to deal with, and then I decided to just enjoy my Christmas with my family. Thank you all for the lovely messages I received. It truly means a lot. I hope you'll all join me in the new year where we will go even further than we did in 2021. Anyways, have a lovely day, stay safe, and peace out.